Previously on a neat retelling. Buddy, why is your panel glowing again?
It seems you said the code for unlocking what Count Orlok left for you. It started counting down.
Oh, no. Abort mission. Ire, can you shut it down?
Negatory. Strap yourself in, House Jasmine.
Oh, boy, okay, that's new. Okay, seriously, why on earth is Orlok sending us to space in the first place? I didn't sign up for this. What does he want us to do? Meet space vampires or something? Does he even know about aliens? Another notebook. I want to believe. Son of a bitch.
T-minus 6, 5, 4.
Oh god. Orlok, when I catch you! Dear listeners, our upcoming episodes are going to be cosmic, literally. Stay tuned for IER in Space!
Now, what was the phrase again? Oh, yes. Seatbelts, everyone.
Please let this be a normal theme month with the droid.
No way!
Come on!
Cruising past copyright, you're filling the stratosphere. Next thing that you know, you're seeing pilots in your Shakespeare. Surfing solar storm waves, pinpoint drunk cars Mars. Leave the map to Transylvania, take a rocket right up with the retelling.
Animate robots.
Right on in space, start alien mutinies too.
My ship.
You need your telling in outer space. Hyperdrive in 3, 2, a public warning with the interstellar crew. Lift off! So join us at the captain's seat. Gravity will soon defy. Just don't fall the ship lead street. You might get baked into a pie.
Just turn the page, all the galaxies are staged.
Come on! It's in space.
First interdimensional travel, and now this. What part of I'm All Adventured Out did we not get, universe? Ire, where did you even get the plans for a spaceship in the first place?
Liz, let me take a look at the schematics for the magic school bus. It's not an exact replica, but I decided to... What was the phrase again? Oh, yes. Make mistakes, get messy.
So when you say Liz, you mean Miss Frizzle's chameleon?
Well, there's also the Bonnie M. singer and the Roswell scientist, but that's indeed the Liz I was referring to.
You know Liz Orteco? Wait, is this why you know so much about aliens? You know what? Nope. We are not going into Area 51 shit. This has already been weird. I mean, I guess I should have seen all this coming. You are basically inspired by all the Star Wars droids. Though I don't think this is what Sam had in mind when they were programming you.
Still, it appears we're going to be in space for the time being. At least until our theme month is over. Can I interest you in a boba in the meantime? It will be like we're still on Earth.
Well, it wouldn't be the first time there was somebody in space who was obsessed with boba. But at least I'm not turning the world into a giant bubblegum bubble for it. Anyway, Sam, if you're listening, it's gonna be a while before you get custody of Ire again. Please don't kill me for this. We'll be back. I hope. Well, at least it looks like I can still reach out to everybody from up here. Really good reception, actually. And I guess because we are in space now, we've got a bunch of people wishing on stars because we have yet another Wish episode coming on this month from our very own Addie Greenberg-Sood.
Yeah, it's a movie that I absolutely love and adore, and nobody else does, and that's just fine.
Okay, care to tell us what that wish is, Addie?
1998's Lost in Space. It is an action adventure based on a TV series that is itself a Robinson Odd, and that is stories based on the tropes from Robinson Crusoe. It's a bad movie. I love it so much. It's my comfort vehicle. And, when I'm feeling sad or whatever, I just want to snuggle up with a cup of hot cocoa and watch it again. And I've seen it so many times. And I'm really sorry that I'm inflicting it on you now.
Okay, well, you know what? I try to go into things with an open mind, even though I keep on hearing some hack comedian saying spiders in my head all of a sudden. We're just going to go ahead and do that. Dear listeners, come join us for the continuation of IER in Space with Addie's Wish episode on Lost in Space. For many days we had been tempest-tossed. 6 times had the darkness closed over a wild and terrific scene, and returning light as often brought but renewed distress, for the raging storm increased in fury, until on the 7th day, all hope was lost. We were completely driven out of our course. No conjecture could be formed as to our whereabouts.
Computer, map, our current position.
Searching for recognizable constellations.
This database has star maps of all the known galaxy.
I don't recognize a single system.
We're lost. Aren't we?
Welcome to A Neat Retelling, the podcast where we explore all the ways old tales are made new. I'm your host, Jasmine Garcia, and joining me today are...
I'm Sam Marchioni, and I would like to extend tentative congratulations to Dr. Z. Smith on both I think, gender and species transition.
Excellent.
Perfect.
I'm Addie, and let's rock and roll.
Indeed. Let us rock and roll as we continue our journey through IER in Space! And we are starting this off with yet another Wish episode, and this is your first wish, Addie. And what did you decide was going to be one of your first wishes again?
Well, before the isekai, there was the Robinsonade. Named for Robinson Crusoe, it was a trope genre wherein our protagonists are shipwrecked on an island and must survive without the support and creature comforts of the society that they came from. Often they're not alone. Often the world is stranger than they might assume, and often they bring some of the dangers with them. We're talking about Lost in Space, the 1998 movie based on the 1965 TV series of the same name, which itself was inspired by the 1812 novel The Swiss Family Robinson.
Greetings, I am IER60, Star Wars Retelling Connections. Point of intersection found. This is a degree 3. Lex Lang was an ADR voice replacement for Lost in Space and voiced Major Vonreg in Resistance, Poe Dameron in LEGO Star Wars The Resistance Rises, and did additional voices in The Last Jedi, The Rise of Skywalker, Rogue One, and Solo. For additional degrees and uncredited amendments, check out neatretelling.tumblr.com/sibling-blogs.
It has a stacked cast full of incredible actors giving the most wooden performances ever, a musical score that somehow fails to even quote the TV themes composed by John Williams.
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah, I know. Has the distinction of being, according to Jazz, the worst thing this podcast has covered so far, and is somehow still my absolute favorite comfort movie.
Oh,
folks, how do you feel about this movie, hated by critics, taking the #1 US box office spot and ending the 15-week streak from Titanic?
Well, if it's not one ship crashing, it's another.
I mean, I have complicated feelings about Titanic in general, but that is for another podcast.
This movie is a movie that when I introduce people to it, I know I'm not going to win them over. This is a bad movie. I'm just going to say it. It's a bad movie. It contains one of the worst line reads I have ever seen.
I love you, wife.
By William Hurt. Like, the man knows how to act. We've seen him do it.
Yeah. Well, we'll get into that. So as Addie has already indicated, yes, the whole Lost in Space franchise is essentially a sci-fi reskin of Swiss Family Robinson.
In the title, The Swiss Family Robinson, the family isn't named Robinson in the original book. Robinson referred to the Robinson Odd, as in Robinson Crusoe.
That's why.
Even though most adaptations had the last name changed to Robinson. Robinson's not a Swiss name.
Well, yeah, of course. But still, it makes more sense. And so I guess now the question is, what is everyone's connection to these two separate franchises, I guess?
So my experience with the Swiss Family Robinson is entirely connected to Disney theme parks because, there are the Swiss Family Robinson tree houses. Mm-hmm. When I was going to Paris, I spent some time in Disneyland Paris. You have to cross through the Swiss Family Robinson tree to get to the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. And it is actually kind of scary in there and easy to get lost. And at one point I turned the corner and I saw a figure there and I screamed. So I hope I enhanced that guy's experience. Like, congratulations, you've now gotten a haunted cave with a screaming woman in it.
For me, this movie, it came out when I was, 13 years old. And I think part of it is viewing it through that childlike lens where I wasn't really critiquing any performances. To me, Penny was goals. The Matrix hadn't come out yet. I was comparing it to other early to mid 90s sci-fi things. And I love sci-fi. I think the effects in this movie actually hold up today. I don't know how much money they spent on making this piece of trash, but if it's garbage, it's real hot garbage, and I think it's my hot garbage.
And we all have that, frankly. I think we are all entitled to that.
Ever since then, I've just been, if I'm feeling really sad or down for any particular reason, I want to cuddle up on the couch with some hot cocoa, wrap myself in blankets, and watch Matt LeBlanc attempt to be a freaking action star?
Don't lie to me. That's just Joey Tribbiani trying to do a Star War.
It really is.
Honestly, Matt LeBlanc would be the most charming part of this movie if it weren't for the incel vibes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, easily. Anyway, I'm in a similar boat as you, Sam. I barely know about Swiss Family Robinson beyond the Disney parks. And also a not so fun fact that apparently in the Disney movie, when they were filming it, they electroshocked a zebra to make it look like the poor thing was sinking in quicksand. So thank you, Tony Goldmark, for that super not fun fact.
It's right up there with the fucking lemmings.
Yeah, no, Disney was very bad to animals back in the day.
There was one other thing I forgot. I know.
Yeah.
I know that one of the daughters in the Lost in Space TV series also was one of the daughters in The Sound of Music. I don't remember which one, but I know that was a thing.
Oh, that's interesting.
Penny was played by Angela Cartwright in the TV series.
Yes, who was Brigitte von Trapp.
Oh, that's kind of neat. I do like that. And yeah, I mean, Lost in Space is one of those things that you hear about a lot, but you probably don't know a lot about it unless you happen to have watched the television show. Or I guess now they do have that Netflix series that's been going on for 3 seasons. I'm kind of curious about that now.
I'm happy to talk about it, but I won't have very much to say. I do think it's better than the film. I do think it's good, but I couldn't get through it because it takes itself seriously. And to me, the Robinson Odd is a stupid trope genre. Just like the isekai, you're not supposed to really take it very seriously. The 7th time you see Truck-kun take out your protagonist, it's trash, and it's supposed to embrace it.
I'm looking at some of the production stuff, and all I can say is that Humvee looks a little too close to a Cybertruck.
Oh.
It did come first.
Fair enough. But yeah, I think everyone has at least heard of people saying Danger Will Robinson or something like that. Like that's like even our dear Ire said it when I was about trying to defeat Dracula. Don't worry about it.
Well, now you know why people my age at least know that line.
Yeah. God. And unfortunately, so one thing that we don't like to talk about anymore is part of the reason I even know this movie exists, and part of why I was expecting at the very least fun garbage for me with this.
Douglas.
Thank you for lying to me, Douglas, once again. There's a reason we don't talk about Walker. But yes, unfortunately, that is mainly what I knew this movie from. What I knew this franchise from, in fact. And yeah, again, I was at least expecting it to be kind of fun garbage, but this really tested my focus very, very badly.
I'm really sad that it wasn't at least a little bit fun, because I think that this, for me, is what young viewers of the prequel trilogy of Star Wars is, where like they saw it, they enjoyed it because it's got these like really, really cool action sequences and like sci-fi, like spaceships doing shit. And there's a lot of fun to be had in there. And I think that.
How are we defining young in this? Like, am I part of young?
Well, I'm talking about me watching this at 13. So when I say young, I mean young.
Yeah, because Sam, you and I both got into Star Wars pretty late in life.
I got into Star Wars when Luke Skywalker got into Star Wars.
Well, yeah, that's pretty late for people to get into Star Wars. Luke arrived 15 minutes late to the rebellion with Starbucks.
I think what I'm saying is that, like, when I watched Return of the Jedi the first time, I was a child. And so to me, the Ewoks were fun and awesome and great. And I do know now that older people who had been fans of the first movie didn't like Return of the Jedi when it came out because of that kind of goofy. That was the first Jar Jar, where it was a meme thing that everybody made fun of. Adults made fun of.
You're not wrong, but on the other hand, I really do think the main problem is a bunch of people decided to make Star Wars a goddamn religion and forgot that at the end of the day, it is still a space wizard movie for children.
That's absolutely true.
I am also gonna push back on, like, because Phantom Menace came out a year after this, and
yep.
I'm sorry, compared to Phantom Menace, I think Phantom Menace's visual effects hold up better, but that might just be because I am comparing Blarp to Jar Jar Binks. And Jar Jar wins hands down.
Yeah.
That's
Blarp
fair.
is for sure the worst thing in this movie in terms of special effects. They really ought to have taken more time. If the thing was going to spend so much time on screen and interact with people. But I will say that one of the things that I think is fascinating to me even today is that moment where Blarp is touching Penny and you can see the indentation on her skin. And that, to me, I think at the time was magic, because I knew, looking at the screen, that this was not a thing that was in scene with Lacey Chabert. Like, they were not on stage, on scene together. But I'm looking at it going, there is a touch happening here on the actor's skin that I can see. And I, at the time, didn't know how they did that. And that moment of, I don't know how they did that, is the thing that's always been magic to me on screen.
I'm gonna guess that dent is courtesy of Jim Henson's Creature Shop.
Oh, absolutely. I'm certain it was.
And, that is what all movie magic is made of, well, to a certain degree. Like, when it comes to new special effects, you do kind of want to get that reaction out of people. So kudos to this movie for getting that out of you.
So here's another comparison to Star Wars that I made with this movie, also about Lacey Chabert. One of the big meme complaints about Mark Hamill's performance in A New Hope is that he's whiny. I'm putting this in air quotes because not only is he not that whiny, he was asked to play a character who is a teenager or a late teen or a young adult working on a farm who has big dreams. He is whiny because have you ever met a teenager? Like, he played the fuck out of that role. It's super believable. Lacey Chabert in this role won an award for Worst Supporting Actress. And she's the only one that feels like part of the family.
Listen, that's the secret, Addie. Everyone hates teenagers, most especially teenage girls. Most especially teenage girls who predicted social media and vlogging.
Oh my god, it wasn't
true.
even the Razzies, it was the Stinkers Bad Movie Awards, formerly known as the Tasting Bad Cinema Society. I'm like, God.
You didn't even have the dignity to be a Razzie, wow.
She did so well in this film. Like, I swear to God, she's the one who feels like a sister. Like, she's kind of a piece of shit because she's a teenager. Yeah, she feels like a person.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Heather Graham might as well not be related to any of them. And
yeah,
you can't blame Matt LeBlanc for not realizing she was his daughter because she sure didn't act like it.
And I'm sorry, Jack Johnson, I'm sure you're a nice person. I hope you've had a good life, but Stephen Hopkins did not do you any favors, and honestly, neither did Akiva Goldsman. Like, Will Robinson, I think that this version of Will Robinson would be friends with Jake Lloyd's Anakin Skywalker, but also I would rather be watching Jake Lloyd's Anakin Skywalker.
I'd rather be watching Phantom Menace than this. I'm sorry. Like, the Phantom Menace at least makes me feel things.
I'm not sorry. I like watching Phantom Menace.
So what's funny about this is that when I watch this movie, I get all of the nostalgia and I love it. When I watch The Phantom Menace, I can't deal with how the long stretches of exposition, the flat affect of all of the adults. To me, this movie stacks up positive against The Phantom Menace. But I think that's just because of my bias. And I don't know actually if I'm certain that I'm not a fair comparator for them, right?
And that's super fair, though. And the thing is, what's interesting is that, again, I didn't get into Star Wars until my 20s. So I do feel like I can at least be a little bit objective about it. But again, film is subjective in general. We should probably at least try to get into the plot.
Yeah, so we have 33 years left before pollution and ozone depletion are irreversible. And also we're going to have laser guns then and cryo sleep.
And supposedly all of the nations will come together to try to make the world better and like save
Except for the sedition.
Except for the sedition, yeah. Yeah, that whole opening narration was just such...
Immediately undermined.
Yeah, and you could have... There were so many ways you could have demonstrated that without doing the narration, but then again, this movie's already 2 ungodly hours.
Okay, I need to back up. Is the sedition supposed to be like communism? Because they're talking about like the West, and it feels like the only reason Dr. Smith isn't a racist caricature on the level of the Trade Federation is because Gary Oldman was in his I will say yes to literally anything that lets me be a scenery chewing villain era.
I think that I just, when I watched it, I was like, the sedition are the bad guys, and I just let it go.
Fair. That's fair. But yeah, I'm guessing it must be communism because they also said the Cold War is about to get hot at one point.
Yeah. But then there's also so the sequence where is my money? That sequence is done in
desert.
Hologram desert. Yeah, and so that gives you this idea of are we in the Middle East? What the fuck is going on here?
I don't know. And unfortunately, they are not really giving me much incentive to care.
Yep. You also don't have enough time. Most of the movie is spent on everything else. It's really just a paper-thin excuse to get someone who is known to the audience to be working against the mission onto the mission. That's it.
And this was one of those movies that it's always been common, but it feels like around this time in movie history were especially common. There was this joke on the Jimmy Neutron show about how summer blockbusters were all kind of fitted to a very particular one, and that joke ended with, based on a TV show we never heard of.
Yep.
Yeah. They were really big on these big nostalgic properties being made into kind of a slick 90s or early 2000s action movie that most kids had never even heard of these TV shows, but were still expected to be the target audience.
Can you imagine prepping your kid for Lost in Space by having them watch the original TV series and then they come in and see this shit?
They would be so disappointed.
Was the TV show that good? Like, that's the thing. Was it that good, though?
It was incredibly well received. It was a series where the first season was in black and white and the other 2 seasons were in color. So it was right on that edge of TV starting to be broadcast in color. It had music written by John Williams.
That man does put crack in his work, you're right.
Yeah, he does. It was a cult classic TV series. There's a reason why they were trying to remake it and why it got revisited again by the Netflix series. Because the people who knew about the TV series, which admittedly was by the time of this movie, no longer that many people, they loved it. So I do think that if you had watched the TV series and then this, you would have been as disappointed as every single critic was in this movie.
As a bunch of Star Wars fans were in Phantom Menace, probably even.
Or as a bunch of Star Wars fans were with The Last Jedi, or The Rise of Skywalker, or literally anything Lucasfilm has put out since 2019. No one hates Star Wars more than Star Wars fans.
No one hates sci-fi more than sci-fi fans, I guess.
Before the sedition stuff, back at the time, I accepted it as just these are the bad guys done.
Sure.
But in today's landscape, the more that I've watched it, the more I think about like the billionaires that build shuttles to escape Earth before its inevitable destruction, and we, the normal people who are gonna fucking live here in their trash. I feel like the sedition, if I were making this movie today, should be proletariat coded. Like, you're trying to get us to a new Earth, but you're not going to move all of us. So what about the assholes who are stuck living here after you all leave?
That could be something interesting to do, wouldn't it?
Can someone care about this planet, please? Like, that's the way I feel about it now. But again, that is a very, like, I'm an adult now, I'm paying attention to the world now, and young me had no such thoughts.
Even the fact that, like, the fossil fuels are all depleted and the ozone layer is gone, the fact that that becomes a plot point in so many different movies, I feel like I get the point of, like, trying to draw attention to it in fiction, but at the same time, keeping it in the fictional setting, I think, set us back, because, hello, we're still dealing with this shit, and at least now we're at least more willing to vocalize that the problem is capitalism, but...
So one of the fun things about that, though, is that the ozone depletion problem, you don't hear about it anymore. And the reason why is because we did heal the ozone layer.
We did.
There is no hole in the ozone layer anymore, and it's because every major country that was part of the problem made CFCs illegal. We no longer use it as an accelerant. We're no longer throwing it into the atmosphere in massive quantities. And so the ozone layer started healing. We can fix things with regulation when we allow people to study things and do something about it. Like, that's one of, like, the great successes of climate science. And it's in our lifetimes.
Yeah, no, I was in 6th grade when I first heard of the ozone layer. So you could, hell, I made a petition in my school at that age to get rid of styrofoam in the cafeteria because of it. So you can imagine how gratifying it was when I first heard the hole in the ozone layer was actually shrinking. I was like, oh my God, we did something right for once. It's just a shame. But I guess the companies that made CFCs weren't as determined as the fucking oil companies and putting the kibosh on anything studying oil's negative impact on the environment.
Yeah.
That's really what's holding us back. That's literally it. But yeah, the thing is, Addie, you brought up how, obviously as a kid, you weren't thinking of all of that. But the thing is, going into making media like this with the thought is like, okay, me as an adult, what kind of themes can I put into this while still making this fun for kids? That is what separates the nostalgic properties that actually still holds up to your adult brain and the nostalgic properties that you're like, okay, I still have some affection for this, but I can acknowledge that this is very stupid.
It's one of the most important things that science fiction can do is hold up that mirror to the societies we live in and the ways in which they could go well and could go very poorly.
Now, with that said, obviously, I'm not asking for every movie to have these really deep and political themes that you can look back on as an adult. Really, all I ask is that I actually give a shit about the characters. And boy, did they fail with that. I do not give a shit about this dysfunctional family, which is a shame, because you could, like, so many pieces of fiction start with a family that is clearly falling apart and come together in the midst of their adventure, and that can be done really well. But it's just, I do not give a shit about any of these characters. Like, Lacey Chabert's character is the closest I get, because she actually feels like a person, at least. But unfortunately, she's a person that annoys the shit out of me.
It's a cat's in the cradle. Dad, you work so much, spend more time with your damn wiener kids. But it's not even all the damn wiener kids. It's one damn wiener kid.
Yep.
Well, no, it's both of the damn wiener kids, because Penny even said, yeah, no, I just got an apology video for him missing 2 of my birthdays.
Yeah, but Penny doesn't seem as invested in that as she does, like, the very reasonable complaint that you are taking a teenager away from all of her friends, everything she knows. The only people she's going to have to interact with are her family members. Everyone else is going to get to grow up and do what they want. And
yeah, that's a pretty hellish fate for any teenager, I think. Like, what teenager's going to be like, oh, hell yeah, Mom?
It's worse than that, because Penny has by this point learned that her family does not care about her. Her mom is far more concerned with Will. Judy is gone, fully gone, checked out entirely. Her dad is also completely checked out, and her little brother basically doesn't need her. Her little brother needs a dad, and she's just trying to let him know that you're not going to have one. And so you end up with this scenario where she is leaving all of the people that care about her, that actually spend time telling her that they care about her, to spend all of the rest of her childhood with the people who have largely forgotten about her. Penny is the character I care about in this family. Penny, and to a way lesser extent, Robot.
Like, the thing is, like, on paper, you could do a lot with this, and I should care. Like, yeah, this sucks. Like, obviously, the Robinson parents are trying to do what's best for their family, but in the meantime, they're neglecting their children.
Are they, though? Are they? Because I feel like it's kind of bad parenting to find out that somebody assassinated your original pilot for this mission. Yeah. Like, there are terrorists actively trying to sabotage this. They will try to kill you and your children. Maybe we don't take the children.
I mean, yeah, that's fair too. Like, it seems like a misguided attempt to bring the family together and try to find a better life for them, you know. There's several immigrant families that end up doing that kind of thing, unfortunately.
And, but it's not an experiment. Yeah. It's to escape something. Like, the thing is that this particular family is well-to-do. They've got clean air inside their house. They've got schools that are actually, like, you know, doing cool things for their children and stuff. They've got places for Penny to go. They've got things for Will to pay attention to and do. And, like, this is not the family to send, is the thing. That's why I connect it to, like, Ocean Gate, right? Like, the kid who died in Ocean Gate, who was just there because his dad was a billionaire.
Oh, man.
Right?
Oh, man.
It's a stupid thing that this billionaire decided to do, along with some of his friends and his kid, and they went down there, and because it was a bad idea, this kid died.
Man, I hate this movie even more now.
That's the only part of that story, the Ocean Gate story, that is actually like, well, that sucks, because he didn't have any choice.
Yeah, no, I hate this family even more now. Thanks a lot, Addie.
I know, right? They're irredeemable. It's awful.
And we have to follow these boring, evil bastards the whole time.
They haven't even really fixed their problems by the end of the movie. Like, John is going to, I guess, be more attentive to Will, but Penny just has her CGI monkey vomit.
Yeah. God. So I will say that one of the things that, as a kid, I was hoping for after seeing this movie was that because it was a box office smash, and like there are plenty of shows that started with a lackluster movie. I mean, Stargate got 10 seasons before they did 2 spin-offs, and that starts with a movie that is, I don't know. I liked it, but a lot of people really, really did not.
I have no opinions. I've never seen it, if it helps.
Jas, let's just say it and leave it at this. Roland Emmerich.
Oh, I know who made it. I'm aware it's part of Emmerich's oeuvre.
Mm-hmm. Or another cult classic, Highlander. I absolutely loved the TV show. The movie was garbage. And so the TV show changed a whole bunch of stuff and then made it about an entirely different person because it made no sense who they cast to be the immortal Scotsman in the first place. But, you know, the show ended up being beloved. And I kind of wanted for this to have a show follow up on these people jumping through space, like making their way slowly but surely towards Alpha Prime in an actual Robinson Odd. About the space family Robinson. And in that time, they would have actually started to become a family because being forced to rely on each other, they would have the fights that they need to have. They would have the coming together that they needed to have. But there's a whole lot of this movie that because you only have one movie, and yeah, it's too long, but it's also missing some stuff. Like you don't get
so much.
A moment where somebody needs to talk to Penny. Someone needs to tell her that she actually is cared about. Or otherwise you get to the end and I'm just like, well, nobody cares about Penny.
And like, calling her precious doesn't count, Dr. Smith.
You
No. Oh my God.
FBI, open up! Like, no, the whole Dr. Smith thing is so weird. Like, you're telling me you got this guy who is clearly determined to kill the Robinson family, stuck with the Robinson family, and you do nothing with that? Nothing interesting with that? I'm so mad. There are so many juicy character dynamics we could have gotten out of this, but, like, just how do you fuck that up?
Bad guy, that guy's the bad guy.
Yeah.
Yup.
And don't get me wrong, Gary Oldman's doing his goddamn best. I'm not sure if that man's capable of half-assing anything.
Yeah, he tries to carry this movie on his back.
and I'm pretty sure it's shattered because unfortunately it did not work. I'm so sorry, Mr. Oldman. You are a wonderful actor. I'm always happy to see.
Yeah. Oh, trust me, Major. Evil knows evil. It's a quotable movie too, though.
Is it though?
I think it is. Okay, never mind.
Fair. No. Like, I think part of it is because you have watched this so many times, but I'm not going to remember this in like 5 days, to be honest with you.
Oh, I hope not. Probably for your sanity, that would be better.
It really tested my focus. I could barely keep up with it. It was so bad. I was just like, I was so bored. And I should not be bored in the midst of space battles and Gary Oldman turning into a weird spider creature and Lacey Chabert vlogging and just all of the weird time travel shenanigans. And Matt LeBlanc, again, don't lie to me. It's Joey Tribbiani trying to get into a sci-fi action flick.
Look, he's got to do something after Rachel chose wrong. I mean, wrong.
So true.
I actually think that Matt LeBlanc did a decent job in this film. He's doing what he does, which is, look, like there are some actors who just play themselves and that's all that they do.
And that's okay.
And Matt LeBlanc is, I think, one of them. He just is Joey. And so when he plays other characters, he's just Joey because that's who he is.
But that's the thing. They didn't even make him do anything fun. That's the annoying thing.
So,
like, the closest part they get to him being at all funny is when he and Judy are drawing Looney Tunes characters on the window. But even then, it's so tepid. Like, this was back when chemistry reads were still happening, right? Because I'm getting, like, negative chemistry between Matt LeBlanc and Heather Graham.
So I actually think that the number of times that I've watched this where, like, I go back and forth on that. I think that in each scene, it's like one of them was in it and the other one was not. So it reads as no chemistry ever. But I think it's two playing that tango, right? Like in the scene with the most chemistry they ever have is that Constellations scene with Bugs Bunny and Daffy Duck on the sky, which
Porky Pig. Like, Daffy is the callback
yeah,
leader.
That's right.
When the first sailors circled the globe, saw a brand new sky, they thought they'd sailed right off the edge of the earth, but they were really just around the corner.
So you're saying that we should just billow our sails and let the wind take us home? Is that it, Major?
So those sailors found familiar shapes in the stars to make the skies seem more friendly and to help them find their way home. That's how the constellations were born. Porky the Wise and Mighty Pig.
The great big-eared bunny, Bugs.
To me, I felt like in each scene, one of them was trying to pour on the, like, let's actually have chemistry in this scene, and the other one was just like, nah, not feeling it today.
And it's like, Heather Graham isn't a bad actress. I've seen her be good in things. I've seen a lot of these actors be good in things.
Like I said, stacked cast.
Yeah, there's a reason We Should Totally Stab Caesar is still brought up every Ides of March, because Lacey Chabert kills it.
I haven't seen Mimi Rogers. I don't think I've seen her in anything, but God, did they give her absolutely nothing. Like, she's operating at like a 3 for 90% of the movie.
Yeah, she's just checked out.
Literally the only time I felt like this character had a pulse was when she was telling her husband and Matt LeBlanc's character to stop doing their dick measuring contests. But to be honest, the fact that that's the best you could give your main adult female character is really bad, screenwriters. We deserve more than, oh, you men.
There's no real conflict between, like, the Robinson parents.
There
other
should
than,
be.
you should spend more time with our damn wiener kids, John.
So why are you calling them wiener kids?
So it's a Simpsons thing that then Tony Goldmark started using, specifically in his Haunted Mansion review, which actually addressed this trope of how in the 90s and early 2000s, for some goddamn reason, almost every damn movie had to have one of the central conflicts be that the dad of a family was not spending enough time with his damn wiener kids.
Oh yeah, it's latchkey kids. I definitely feel like at the time there was a response to the TV is raising your kids. There is a turn at some point in the 80s when all of the labor unions started to get much, much weaker.
Reagan!
Yeah, thanks, Reagan. Work hours started to get longer and longer, and pay didn't keep up, and people stopped being able to trust their companies to give them a career that would take care of them, but they were still trying to do that because that's what their parents told them to do, because prior to Reagan, it worked. And so suddenly you had these worn out breadwinners who would come home and they would just be dead. They would sit down on the couch and they would stare into space and be completely checked out for all of their free time, which was not very much. I remember growing up that my father was always traveling. And so I will tell people now that, like, I was always very, very worried that my dad would be upset with me or not proud of me. But also, he was just never there because he was always on a trip somewhere. He was a channel manager for Sun Microsystems at the time. And yeah, it was an actual real problem, I think. And it's still a problem today, but we have this feeling where, like, American work ethic is that when you meet someone new at a party, the very first question is, so what do you do? And what we mean by that is, how do you capitalism? How do you pay to continue breathing?
I'm going to start introducing myself that way from now on. Instead of, so what
how do you capitalism?
God. And you're right. Like, I'm not saying that the trope is bad because it's not addressing a very real world problem. The problem is that it doesn't really address the actual root of the problem. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's just like, yeah, you're a bad parent because you're actually trying to put food on the table, essentially.
The trope itself doesn't make for a bad movie. Like, the Robin Williams Hook movie is also that same trope. But it's a fantastic movie. And I will readily admit that even though this is the movie that I put on, I should be putting on Hook.
Yes, absolutely. That is the correct answer. Hook is a very good choice for that. And I'm not saying the trope is bad itself either. It was just super overdone. And again, just did not really address the real problem.
Let's get to the part where we go into the time bubble, and there is Will Robinson from the future being played by Jared Harris in just an awful performance.
It's so bad.
Apparently they dubbed Jared fucking Harris over. Why would you do that?
dubbed him over with who?
I don't even know. I just happened to read that. I'm like, why would you do that? Jared Harris good.
I didn't notice that. Hold on.
If it turns out they dubbed him over with William Hurt, that would not surprise me, because there are some reads in there that are very William Hurt in this movie.
Oh, fair enough. My God, I never even noticed.
Will being this maladjusted, still daddy issues all over the place guy, and it's like, hey, look, Dad, turns out I wasn't wasting my time on time travel. There's a fucking time travel portal. God.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm very fond of time travel films, and I think that as far as that goes, the time travel plot in here is tight enough and well explained enough that I actually think it's pretty solid for the plot design.
It's fine. I don't mind that per se. It's just, again, I should be caring, because this is some really interesting stuff. This is an absent father running into the messed up future version of his kid. That sounds awesome. Why do I not care?
And even like the whole big dramatic dad chooses his son over the work thing, it kind of falls flat. It's the adult will, not the baby will.
And it's not the work thing that he didn't choose his son over the work thing. In the end, his son throws him back into the work thing.
But yeah, no, I did double check. Yeah, apparently Jared Harris has disavowed this movie because his performance was dubbed by another actor. I've yet to be able to figure out who it was, but there you go.
Fair enough, Jared Harris.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely fair.
You deserve better, sir.
I would actually love to see the version of the scenes with just his own performance.
Yeah, because Jared Harris is a good actor. Did they dub him over to make him sound more like William Hurt in this movie? Because that was a bad choice.
At least you should tell your freaking actor that that's what the plan is. In The Dark Knight, the voice modification that maybe it's not The Dark Knight, but it's the one where Bane has the voice modification.
Oh, The Dark Knight Rises.
And sometimes it's a little difficult to understand what Tom Hardy is saying, but it's not like we didn't know. It's not like Hardy didn't know that the voice was going to go through a modification to make it sound
or
like
even
what
like
it was going to sound like.
When Deborah Carr was doing The King and I, she found out early on, or she recommended rather, that they bring in Marnie Nixon to dub her, and she was able to give a better performance because of it.
And you even said on the Biggest Night in Podcasting episode that she even worked really closely with Marnie Nixon to make sure that they matched up well. And for all of our problems with that movie, it definitely matched up well.
That's the best example of all the ones that we've had so far. Thank you, Sam.
That's another thing that I think this movie is missing. Like, what do these people like? Like, tell me anything that Will Robinson likes besides baseball and time travel.
And making new friends.
Yeah, true.
Oh, ha ha. I can still do that. Holy shit. I love that. Oh my god. I didn't realize I could get that low anymore.
Well, that's cute. That was cute. That was very cute. That was very cute.
I mean, it was like a nice touch that Penny had that little video diary list of all the things she was going to miss. But then they never do anything with it. Like, let her find some cool space chocolate or something.
Right? I'm just going to go ahead and say one more time, Penny should have been the heart of this movie, and isn't only because the movie kind of, like, tells the viewer that, oh yeah, society hates girls, and then goes ahead and hates girls too.
Exactly. This movie hates women a little bit.
A little bit?
The whole thing is very #Glee hates girls coded. But on the other hand, this movie seems to hate social interaction in general. This movie seems to hate genuine feeling human relationships.
I think that talking about this movie is making Jas madder.
I promise I'm not actually mad. I'm just loud.
That's fine. No, I've done something to you two, and I've made your lives just a tiny bit worse. Just given a little bit of...
You make me watch this movie on the day of the Are You Afraid of the Dark Universe finale.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's okay.
I think I am talking about the things that suck about this movie, but all of these things are also things that somehow make me, are part of the charm for me, which I don't know how to, like, I can't communicate that really well.
I might have something there. Like, one of my comfort movies is fucking Spice World. And I fully acknowledge that movie is trash and a half. But
so this movie lost Worst Picture to Spice World at the Stinkers Bad Movie Awards.
That's crazy. No, absolutely not. Like, Spice World is camp. Spice World at least came with some intention of being kind of ridiculous. I don't think this movie did.
I feel like, okay, maybe I am reading into it, but I feel like this movie is very camp. And it feels to me like...
Maybe with Gary Oldman's performance, I could see that.
Well, for sure.
Spider-Smith is camp.
Yeah, I will grant you that. Also, now I want to sing, Spider-Smith, Spider-Smith, he's invaded our rocket ship.
I think that for me, part of it is also that, like, I'm going to say this again, Lacey Chabерт's performance is so over the top like, she's the only one who matches Gary Oldman for this is a stupid script with some stupid characters, and we're going to be stupid for it. And I love that.
Honestly, if everyone had come with the same energy as Gary Oldman and Lacey Chabert, I'd probably be singing a different tune, because at least be like, okay, it's consistently really dumb. But unfortunately, you've got William Hurt sleepwalking through this. Mimi Rogers isn't really given anything to do, so I can't even blame her for also sleepwalking through it. Matt LeBlanc, again, Joey Tribbiani, but not even like the fun soap opera Joey Tribbiani, or even like the Joey doesn't share food Tribbiani. And then you got Lacey Chabert and Oldman, again, taking it to 11. Like, if everyone had taken it to 11, then yes, I would probably be putting it on the same level as Spice World.
I decided for my own edification, I wanted to look over Akiva Goldsman's filmography, so I'll just give some of the highlights. Batman Forever and Batman and Robin immediately preceded this movie.
That makes
delightful
sense.
After this movie, Practical Magic, and then the Academy Award-winning Best Adapted Screenplay, A Beautiful Mind, and then I, Robot.
Further proof that we gotta start somewhere, I guess.
Never give up on your dreams, kids. You too could win an Academy Award and then go on to write the Da Vinci Code and I Am Legend.
Oh, I mean, did he write the original? Did he write the original script for I Am Legend? Because that one actually had a point.
I have no idea.
Well, regardless, whoever was in the focus group that made them kill that ending, I hope they all step on Legos.
But, like, God, this filmography. He has a story credit on Transformers The Last Night.
You know what's funny, though, is that I really liked iRobot, and I really liked I Am Legend, and I really I feel like this filmography is just, it was for me only.
It vibes with Addie's brain.
I am the target audience.
But you know what? With I Am Legend, I actually mostly vibed with it up until I found out about what the ending was supposed to be. And now I'm angry at test audiences forever.
So maybe the turning point was Practical Magic, because I love Practical Magic. That's a great movie.
Wonderful. Man. Because that's the thing. Again, this is a 2-hour movie and not very much of import happens. And I think that's part of why we're having such a hard time talking about the movie itself.
I don't know. This movie has so many parts to it that I find... Like, okay, so it opens with an absolutely excellent dogfight between really cool design fighters and stuff. Like, they make no sense, but they're cool.
Now this is pod racing.
Yes, exactly. It opens with a pod racing scene, and I fucking love it. Which also, pod racing has always been my favorite part of Phantom Menace.
I do.
Jazz, I'm so sorry this has suddenly become an episode of my podcast.
It makes sense, though, because again, this is basically just an attempt at a Star War.
It is the very, very rules light space shit, and I love it.
I do want to offer a brief apology to Lenny James, the actor who is playing Matt LeBlanc's friend, Jeb Walker, because there was a point in his voice when he was off screen, and I heard it, and I'm like, motherfucker, is that Harvey Fierstein? And you deserve better credit than that, Lenny James. I'm sorry.
Dang.
Don would have done it. That one? Don would have come back for me.
If you had told me there was a sci-fi movie where Harvey Fierstein voiced like a sassy robot or something, I would believe you very easily.
I want that now.
That feels like the fact that no one has done that feels like a waste of Harvey Fierstein. You're right.
Lenny James, I think, did an excellent job as Jeb, though. I actually really like. You only get to see him in the pilot seat in the first thing, and then on a screen with a voice added on the Proteus, and that's it. And still, he's a very big part of the motivating movement of the thing. So it's kind of weird that he doesn't walk around in the movie ever.
Okay, I also have to ask about that opening dogfight. Did they have, like, weird contact lenses on over their eyes?
Yes. I don't know whether it was contact lenses or whether it was drawn onto the frame afterwards, but it looked to me like part of the display was actually beamed onto their irises, which makes no goddamn sense, but God, did it look cool.
It does look cool. A lot of this movie does look very cool. That I can say. A lot of it does actually look very cool in spite of all of the issues with the CGI we've mentioned, because honestly, I could chalk that up to, sure, this was still early on in the use of CGI in movies. So I do give it a pass.
The year we talked about this before we got into this recording, we were talking about how I said that this was a great warm up for Gary Oldman's role in Fifth Element as Jean-Baptiste Emmanuel Zorg, which is the greatest villain name in history. But that movie came a year before this one. I think that the special effects in that movie and this one are the same exact picture of the state of the art at the time. And I think it's actually a really good picture, with the exception of Blarp. Just the scene where they're approaching the Proteus and they light up bits of the hull with moving lights. And I feel like there were bits of that when they were going past and like on the outside of the Proteus, looking at the biosphere and looking at the, indentations on the hull and all of that stuff. There was detail there that in older sci-fi movies you just wouldn't get, short of ones that had the ability to and the vision to do what George did in the original trilogy of building everything and making it look used.
Sam, you're not even that big on the space battles, so the dogfight probably did jack shit for you.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
I mean, I like dogfights as potentially an opportunity to provide character, but
so technically this dogfight was meant to provide character for Matt LeBlanc's character. Oh my God. The fact that I'm calling him Matt LeBlanc's character instead of
indicative of the problem.
Is indicative of the problem.
Yeah.
I wonder if Lenny James would have been better as Major West.
Absolutely he would have.
Probably. No offense to Matt LeBlanc, because, again, the fact that this character is such a nothing burger is not his fault.
If Gary Oldman is carrying the movie on his back with acting, Matt LeBlanc is carrying it on his back with charisma. Like, Matt LeBlanc is a very watchable person.
Yes.
If only Major West wasn't also kind of a smarmy bitch with every single woman on the ship. Okay, so this is another thing about this film that sucks, is that because the entire thing is one whole family and one man-child...
and one evil doctor of evil.
And one evil doctor of evil is just... It's like you get, like, there's the forced hetero pair, and then the rest of it is just, like, everything else that is people talking to other things. You're just sitting there going, like, oh my God, this is such a recipe for disaster. I hate it so much.
I mean, we see that Penny is definitely got a thing for West, which is like, oh, honey, I get it. It's a rite of passage for many a male-attracted teenage girl to have a very age-inappropriate crush, but honey, no.
He is not the love of your life.
Yeah. I would die for Riley.
God. But yeah, the problem is that Matt LeBlanc is indeed a charismatic actor. The character he's playing is a charisma vacuum. It's matter and antimatter colliding.
It really is. You know, what's funny is that you say things that are bad about the thing, I agree with them, and I'm grinning while I do it.
Addie, I have plenty of movies where I agree with every single criticism people have brought up about it, but I'm still like, yeah, I still love it though. I understand. We've all been there.
I have an entire letterboxed list called "The Ingredients Are Right, but the Recipe is Wrong."
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah, that's
yeah.
pretty
This
good.
belongs there.
For listeners' edification, that list includes things such as Jupiter Ascending, all the Descendants movies, the 2005 Bewitched movie, and Barely Lethal.
Incredible. I'm surprised you didn't bring up Wish.
I don't have time for us to litigate Wish again.
Fair enough. I'm debating if we should count that for this pod, but anyway.
More on the effects, though, because this is like the thing that I think tied it together for me as a kid was all of these cool effect sequences with the space shit. And so that's probably actually why it was so disappointing for most people who were actually looking for, a movie in there somewhere. But I think that the effects for going into activating the hyperdrive were awesome. I think that moving through, I think the sequence where they're walking through the time wall, the time bubble wall, it sticks in my brain as like, that's cool looking. I love that there's kind of a pushback. I love that it really looks like there's a force holding them back. And that's actually straight up physical acting from everybody. And I think that they did a great job doing it, like making it feel like there's something there trying to stop them.
The funny thing is, it reminded me of Baldur's Gate 3, where you will cross from one area to another and suddenly the lighting shifts dramatically and you're like, what?
It's a good comparison, but like, whereas in Baldur's Gate 3, you're walking from one place to another that are literally part of the same, like you're walking across land to another place that is supposed to be right next to it. In this, you're walking from one time to another, and the conditions on the other side of that bubble are just very, very different from the ones that you were leaving. And I thought that was really neat. And then you have the through the planet, which slingshot stuff doesn't work that way. That is not how physics works. But I fucking love it anyway. Yeah, it's just a lot of the time the solution in this movie is, okay, through, and it works. Or
fair.
Like badly. I felt like there was enough. The effects were often what caught my attention and kept me like glued to it through the entire thing.
Yeah, that definitely makes sense. And again, I get that this is a comfort watch. This is your exact breed of trash, and I love that for you. I really do.
So there is a deleted scene where inside of the bubble, Penny runs into a grown-up Blarp, and it is the equivalent to the deleted scene where Han Solo steps on Jabba the Hutt's tail. And it's a good thing that it remained deleted, but it was supposed to be a follow-up for Penny's growth arc. And Blarp is this giant puppet blob in the scene, and it's so awful looking that like that's the only reason why it's a good thing this remained on the cutting room floor. But it is like a genuinely, like they really needed to replace this moment and they just never did.
Oh,
Man.
gross. Puberty hit Blarp hard.
Yeah.
I'm scared.
So bad.
I'm scared now. Hold, please. Absolutely not.
No, thank you.
You're welcome.
No, thank you.
You're welcome.
Listen, I love a good alien monster, but ooh.
No, thank you.
So bad.
Why would you do that, movie? Why would you do that?
I don't know. Why did movie have Dr. Smith with a big egg sack full of spiders?
Spiders. And listen, I love a good sci-fi spider. One of my favorite sci-fi novels is called Children of Time, in which an attempt to introduce an accelerated evolved humanity onto a planet accidentally goes to a bunch of spiders, and we see a lot of development in how basically spiders with human levels of intellect would evolve as a society throughout a short span of history. It's fascinating. How the hell did you manage to make a human spider played by Gary Oldman so underwhelming movie?
That CGI, that's bad on the level of Blarp, I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, that's the word. That actually, I think that I was saying before that Blarp is some of the worst CGI in the film. It is some, but the face work on the Gary Oldman puppet is the worst. Because every single motion of it is just not affected in the actual face, the jaw, and whatever. It's unbelievably bad. Every motion does not make sense on that thing.
God.
It's like he was in Jell-O or something. I don't know.
And yeah, again, why do people keep on trusting Dr. Smith when you already know he's a murderer?
He said he's a monster.
To be fair, it's only Will that gets the idiot stick for trusting the doctor, and he's very young.
That's fair, I guess. And clearly desperate for friends.
Yeah. It doesn't make sense anyway. Like, I do think that this is yet another of the movies that just does not allow for the idea that actually kids are quite intuitive. By the time they're like 6 or 7, they often are able to read people a lot better than we give them credit for. And the number of times that a parent will be suddenly very aware that their child is a full human is a lot higher than most 90s movies ever allowed for.
Not even just 90s movies. Most movies do not know what to do with kid characters. That's really the problem.
Yeah. And if you are going to have them have a naive moment, you really need to work to make it make sense. And yes, I'm a doctor is not really enough. It's great line delivery, but it's not enough.
You need to spend 10 to 12 years slowly conditioning him to understand that you're the only person who really understands him, and his master/surrogate father figure is against him and is turning your wife against him. And sorry, what were we talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
Man, we really do keep on bringing up how spoiled the Star Wars fandom is, I guess, because you know what? You could have gotten this Star Wars fandom. You could have gotten
It's true. So that's the one thing that, like, I feel like when I talk about Star Wars, sometimes people get the wrong idea that I don't love it. Mm-hmm. And I do so much. And that's the thing, is that I look at it and I compare it to this, and this is just so bad by comparison. Like, on every single point, Star Wars, every single one of its movies are legitimately better than this one. There is no part of this movie that escapes that. This is a movie where, in my opinion, it is more than the sum of its parts. And in everyone else that I have known, it is exactly the sum of its parts. And every single part belongs in the trash.
You know what it is? You know what it really is, I think? This movie lacks heart. Like, it wants to have a heart, but it doesn't really. Like, it wants to have these emotional beats, but it doesn't want to lay the groundwork properly for it. Meanwhile, say what you will about the worst of the Star Wars movies, somewhere along the way, it had a heart. I really think that's what it is. Like, on some level, all the Star Wars movies at least kind of want you to care about the characters. Was this a movie made by the robot? Is that what it is?
The case against AI.
The robot honestly has more heart than that.
Well, the robot only really gets heart after Will starts modeling its brain off of his own brain.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I feel like you could write a really fucked up sci-fi story about that, you know? Like, about a robot that wants its own identity but is internally tied to its creator. I feel like...
Jazz, I hate to tell you, Marvel Comics did that. It's called Ultron and Hank Pym.
Oh, god damn it, you're right.
They do that in the MCU with Ultron and Stark. It actually really does work. Like, You're Breaking My Heart, kid. You're Breaking My Heart, Junior, is actually like a great moment, because that is exactly what is happening for Ultron. Ultron is going, I am the product of this fucking asshole. And, it's actually kind of relatable. It's one of the only things about Ultron where you're like, yeah, no, that sucks for you.
God. But yeah, speaking of robots supposedly getting a heart, that's the thing. They want these big emotional moments. yeah, we're working out all of our differences as a family now. We're gonna love each other better now, and I don't buy it for a second.
They have shown it not at all.
Also, they just left the bad guy alive? And he still has the infected spider bite?
Yeah.
Was that a sequel hook?
Yeah, I really think it was.
Probably.
Like, if they were going to launch into a new TV series or a sequel, then it would be where we have to do something about Dr. Smith. Like, that's what it would be, because we know what's going to happen, and it's not going to be good, and no, we can't trust him. He's obviously, none of us has the balls to kill him. So
Penny would kill him.
I think Penny would kill him, yeah. I also think that Major West would kill him.
You know what? They can do it together. They can have a little murder as a treat.
They really ought to.
Because, like, we didn't really have John get over his own daddy issues about my dad was a warrior and that's why he died and that's why I have my daddy issues and why I'm inflicting daddy issues on my son.
God.
Yeah.
Maybe this needed a TV show so it had more room to breathe.
That is actually what I think. I think that if this had been cut down to 1 hour and had been the first episode of a TV series, it would have been a great TV series.
And I mean, you need to give the actors better direction or something, but yeah.
Danger Will Robinson indeed.
The one thing that I want to hammer is that this film is part of the reason why it's so charming to me is because it's so hated to me. And also it was clearly a movie that there was a lot of money spent on getting a lot of great artists to do a lot of kind of mediocre work to make this film. And I don't know what to do with that, but it feels very charming to me.
And that's, again, I love that this is your exact brand of trash. I really do, Addie. I'm glad this brings you so much joy.
It does. It just does. Apollo 550 wrote an absolute banger, and it's over the credits.
Fair. But so yeah, with that all in mind, why does the Robinsonade endure, I guess? Or does
The
it?
Robinsonade. I think the Robinsonade does sort of endure, but it has been drifting further and further from trapped on an island. And now I think that it's the isekai. Before it was we're trapped on an island and you have to learn how to survive with nothing but what you brought with you and what you can find. And now it's you're transported into the world of a video game and you have to survive with what you know about video game tropes. Or you're transported into the world of a romance visual novel and you have to figure out how to make sure that all of the capture not targets like you just enough that they don't kill you because you're the villainess. And like that sort of thing where it's like, because the tropes of the trapped on a deserted island thing go all the way back to
Lord of the Flies?
Yes, Piggy with the glasses and all of the, like, that is a, like, where you're kind of able to somewhat dissect society. Some of the things that, like, the greatest stuff in that genre of taken somewhere else and forced to contend with your assumptions about the world, there are still, even in the isekai genre, moments of that where there is a comfy slime based slice of life where the main character from First Principles invents like the concept of the black company and like, I don't want to treat my workers poorly, so we're going to have days off, we're going to have a maximum work day, you're going to get time for lunch and breaks, you're going to have, and all of these rules of the society that they brought with them to make this medieval society a little bit less shit, right? And I think those moments are really, really fascinating, and they still exist, and they come from the Robinsonade and the things that informed Robinson Crusoe. And I love it. I think it absolutely is a lasting trope genre, and I'm a big fan.
Wow. Honestly, the minute you connected the Robinsonade to the isekai, I was like, huh? But you made a very good argument right there.
Yeah, I'm just now mulling over whether if a story goes into being trope, is it still the story enduring? Like I'm thinking of, Fantastic Voyage stuff. Fantastic Voyage is a story, but it's also now a trope.
I mean, it's kind of the same question I've been asking myself when it comes to vampires, really, because let's face it, most modern vampires have roots in Dracula and the like. So it's something I have grappled with ever since starting this podcast, so it's a fair question. I do think it means that at the very least it's evolving, and evolution is essential to survival.
So a more recent example of the Robinson Odd that people will stack up into, like, this is also really a Robinson Odd because it's progress through technology, following the triumphs and rebuilding of civilization, the unfriendliness of nature. 2011's The Martian, and then the movie that was based on it. That is you're trapped in a hostile environment and you have to use what you know to survive. There's a lot going on there. And again, in case some of the dangers are what you brought with you, all of that hydrazine is a danger that is part of the technology that is meant to keep him alive. I think that there are some things where the story gets parceled out and becomes part of many other stories.
Yep.
And I don't think that The Martian is a retelling of any particular Robinson Odd, but I do think that there's some
DNA there.
Yeah, it's more like a lineage than a retelling.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I will say, like, while yes, we don't really do that many deserted island stories anymore, it is still something that we talk about. Like, how many times in your life have you been asked, hey, which 5 albums would you bring to you on a deserted island or something like that? Like, it is
naval code whatever that emits a high-pitched frequency and... Sorry, Brennan Lee Mulligan jumped out at me for a sec.
That was great.
Did I win?
But,
yeah, you did.
But yeah, it is still something we think about. I think there's just something in us, even if we are living a very safe lifestyle in a relatively privileged position. Obviously, your mileage may vary, but a part of you does kind of crave just the thought exercise of what would I do in a more extreme situation? And I guess that is part of what makes these kind of scenarios interesting. And why these kinds of stories do tend to get sci-fi reskins is because we pretty much know most of what's when it comes to inhabitable places on this planet. So
there's a game that I used to play with my older brother where it was you are taken from today and dropped into a particular time period. What could you reinvent from first principles? And often the thing is like, well, do we have steel yet? Because I don't know how to make steel, but if I have steel and people who can make it with any precision, then I think I could invent the combustion engine. That kind of thing. And this is all the same thing. These are just games that we're playing with this concept of what if you're in a place where all you have is the people and stuff that you brought with you, and what you can rely on from the world around you is limited. This movie really isn't actually that, even though the TV series that it's based on was. Which I think is even more an interesting thing, is that like this movie is an adaptation, a retelling of a story that is in a genre that this movie is not in.
Which is insane. That's genuinely insane. What a wasted opportunity.
Right?
I think Penny put it best. This mission sucks.
Yeah.
Yes! It's so fun to say. Oh my god. The number of times that I've just quoted that for no reason, out of nowhere, because it's just like Echolalia wants me to.
No, I get you. I understand. Don't worry, Lacey Chabert. You'll get your time to be iconic.
She is iconic.
And after that happens, you'll spend the rest of your life making Hallmark movies.
Oof. Final thoughts?
I'm lost and spaced out.
All right, on to Hyperdrive. Who has stuff to plug?
I am the host of 6 Degrees of Star Wars, the podcast where we explore all the ways George Lucas's flagship franchise surrounds us, binds us, and penetrates us in the landscape of cinema. I'm sure this movie will also show up there at some point. I'm sure Addie will want to talk about it again. But until that time, you can check out our backlog wherever pods are cast and find me on social media at my handle Demisem, that's DEMISEMME. And also call your senators and your representatives and reiterate that you do not want to fucking go to war with Iran for any reason. Like, I'm sorry. Just fuck.
Your hero's call to action this week, dear listeners. Take care of this planet before we fly off to space.
Let's prevent the sedition from needing to be a thing.
And as always, you can find me at FavorVR on all the socials. And you can find this podcast on Blue Sky and technically Twitter at IAR Podcast. To help us reach the next chapter of our story, please consider donating to our Patreon, our Ko-Fi page, or the Spread the Show link below. Or if you are unable to support us monetarily in these really financially uncertain times, please consider rating and reviewing us on the podcatcher of your choice and spreading the word to any nerds in your life that might want to hear about us. And speaking of the next chapter of our story, while we are trying to apparently find space vampires, we do have yet another wish. This one, coincidentally, from Addie's wife, Ilana Greenberg-Sood. This will be a wildcard wish, and this is gonna be our very first Star Trek episode. It's going to be Season 1, Episode 6 of Strange New Worlds, Lift Us Up Where Suffering Cannot Reach, which is an explicit adaptation of one of Ursula K. Le Guin's stories, Those Who Walk Away from Omelas. We hope you will join us in space, the final frontier, and remember, stories gain power in each retelling. For the last time, my united family slumbers beneath my care. Tomorrow, this closing chapter of my journal will pass into the hands of my eldest son. From afar, I greet thee, Europe. I greet thee, dear old Switzerland. Like thee, may New Switzerland flourish and prosper, good, happy, and free.